Nate Nicholson, I am so excited to have you on For Real. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Kimberly. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now that I know you, you can just call me Kim. I mean, you can call me whatever you
Oh,
want, but I will respond most readily to Kim.
oh,
Hi. I need to talk to you about your bio. That's where we're starting. Here are the 8 million things you do: artist, filmmaker, photographer, designer, minister. That's 5 by my count. And my guess is you didn't even say husband and father and whatever else you're doing. And my first question is, did you see this coming, Nate? Did you know, even as a little kid or middle school, that you would probably have a life that would encompass all of those beautiful things?
I did. I did. You know, I in my life, there's been moments where, whether it's a teacher or professor saying, you should think about. I know you're in school for accounting, but you should think about being a writer. It's
Yeah.
like those moments I hold on to. But not only that, there's so many things that have been put in me, and so many inspirations that I have. I figured that the first thing that I break out in, or break out on rather, would really be enable me to do the other things that I love, that I enjoy.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I did envision, more than just one discipline, more than just one passion, more than just one skill set. Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you about that because I feel like lots of times when we're growing up and it's third grade and the teacher says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" we feel the need to choose one thing. So,
Right.
how did you have the courage, even at a young age, to know, no, it's going to be a few things?
Yeah. Well, I've changed it several times. I've changed my
Oh,
aspirations of what I
same.
wanted to be. When I was growing up, I was good at, I was the smartest kid in the class, right?
Mm.
But I wanted to be a math teacher. Like, math started getting more difficult around around high school for me. So
Calc wasn't quite as fun as long division in my life.
I kind of tossed that aside. And then I figured, okay, how could I make money? I kind of have a run of the mill job that really pays the bills, and so I was like, oh, be an accountant. That did not. So for one, I need to stay out of the math arena, right? It
So,
just
how far
wasn't.
did you get in that? Like, you took a CPA exam that far, or just some classes, or how'd you know
No,
that's not it?
I knew after accounting 101 that
Okay.
that was not
Not gonna
what I
trick your trigger.
wanted
Yeah.
to do.
Mhm.
And so even in that, I've had 3 stints in undergrad, and
Mhm.
so they've been 2 have been graphic design, graphic arts, and the last one was fine arts and graphic design. And so,
Okay.
yeah, that's what. So when I had a brother, I had 2 older brothers who both went to the Gary Area Career Center. So it's a place where,
Mm.
in the town where I grew up in Gary, Indiana,
Hmm.
during your junior or senior year, you can go to your trade for half to offsite from your high school
Okay. During the
to
school day.
another school for your trade. And so, um, I had 2 brothers who did it before me. One that's 8 years older than me, one that's 6 years older than me. The one that's 6 years older than me actually taught graphic design. So it was like, that they got the ball rolling for me. And
Okay.
so, from that, I put in my art acumen. Um, and so I found out that I wasn't just a person that did art. I was an
Mhm.
artist.
Mm.
And so that really changed the landscape of my life, really.
You have a beautiful new book that's coming out soon. It's called In the Beginning We Create: Reflections on Collaboration, Creativity, and Rest. And I love hearing the background of this because you are very clear in your argument that words matter, the words we use to talk about ourselves and to talk about our art or our creativity, that matters. So you switching from saying this is kind of the thing I do for fun or it's a hobby to I am an artist is a pretty pivotal switch. And another word that you center in on pretty early in the book is that God creates, present tense, not just in Genesis 1 and 2 and 3, I think it is, but that he
Mhm.
is creative. He is continuing to
Absolutely.
create, and that makes a difference for us. I realized that when I think about God being a creator, I really go to Genesis 1. That's almost the like the knee-jerk impulse when I think God creating. Okay, I'm going to go to the very beginning. But it's such a beautiful unwrapping of that idea to think God creates right now, today. So why does that matter? I think that matters. You make a good argument that it does, but I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit, that this is an ongoing creative God and why that matters to us.
Sure. Yeah, Kim. The thing is, people say, something told me to do that.
Uh,
Something told me to. What is the something? Is it is it a bird that came to whisper in your ear? It's God provides inspiration. And
mm,
so I know even in church circles, we get stuck so much sometimes on what used to be, the God of yesteryear,
mhm,
and what used to happen. And that
mm,
was, the thing that established us. But he's still the God of right now.
mm,
He's still the God that gives me inspiration daily when I ask for it. It gives me inspiration from what I've been exposed to in the past.
mhm,
And so it's not the wisdom of God is that all of mankind came from Adam, right? And so
mm,
from that first clump of dust, which dust is not even dirt, it's not even soil. Dust is like something that's useless, right? From that first pile of dust to now, he knew all the children that will be born, all the generations that will come after that from that one seed. And so I often say that we are the biggest um we are the biggest artistic series,
mm.
mankind, humankind. Um and so
That's
and
awesome.
even from that, we're unique.
Mm,
You can't find identical twins that have the same fingerprint.
mhm,
And so um but aside from that, God creates not only through us, but through the things that we do. If God gives you an idea, it's not for you to let it float out into orbit. No,
mm.
no, no. Land that idea, get your orange cones, back it into the driveway and do something with it. And so, that's how I choose to create, knowing that creation is godly,
Mm,
and that the ideation that I experience, the brainstorming that I experience, is not independent from God, but He gives me those ideas for a reason. Why in the world would He give me an invention that will change the world and I don't share it?
mm,
Why in the world would He entrust me with an idea and I don't bring it to life? And so, just like faith without works is dead, your idea without you um putting feet to pavement is dead.
mm. I love the idea of listening to that and moving on that. One of the things that surprised me about how you write and speak and kind of how you move through the world is that in that process, you look to collaborate. When I think about artists, because I am not in that world regularly, not for visual art, I think I just imagine someone on their own in their studio or in their space or wherever doing their thing. And then they perfect their thing. And then eventually they get to the point where they want to maybe share the thing that they've created. But this is a very interesting part of what you talk about. I think that this in fact it's the first thing in your subtitle, Reflections on Collaboration. If making stuff and making beautiful things or thought-provoking things or evocative things is a collaborative effort. How in the world did you always know that? And also, really, what I want to know is what are some things that you have done collaboratively that maybe wouldn't have happened by yourself? I'm a writer, and so oftentimes the writing is on my own. But I've done it long enough that I know there comes a point where I have to open the door and let people in, not just the audience, not just the reader. That's the ultimate goal, but there are key people in my life that make my writing, my story, my craft better when I get them into the room. So are there people like that for you? And what are some projects you've done or some examples that you have of collaborative work being better than solo?
Yeah. So, so here's the thing. Even when you say that writing, the art that writing
Yeah,
is more so a solo, individual sport. Um, I would say that your experiences through all those people who have shaped you, who
totally.
have been in your lives and in your life, has really that they come out through your writing.
For
Those
sure.
experiences, those
Definitely.
conversations,
Yes.
those moments that you have.
Okay.
And so, I believe it was Maya Angelou said, you know, when I show up at a space, I'm not alone. My
Mm,
mother is there, my
mm,
grandmother is there,
mm,
all those people that everyone who has loved me
mm. It's
is in that
beautiful. Yeah.
space. And so, um, I just think that the power of exposure is important. That you know, what we experience comes out through our art, and whom we experience it with, comes out, and the things that we recall, the things that make us smile, and the things that shape us that were not desirable in our lives that make us who we are. Um, and so in that regard, but I would say that my when it comes to film, for me, I just did I'm in the process of finishing. It's really an ongoing project, a short form documentary series called Elevate Black Voices.
Mhm.
And so with that, I saw these everyday people that were around me that do great and amazing things that the world doesn't know,
Mm.
and that should have more people outside of their sphere know what they do, experience them, and so I I I set out to do this project, and I start picking out people in my life that I wanted to highlight
Mm.
and elevate their voice
Mm.
and elevate their personhood and elevate really their somebodyness, as Dr. King would say, to the world.
Yeah.
People who otherwise would not be highlighted. And
Mhm.
so when it comes to projects like that, I could sit in front of my camera. You wouldn't want to see me long for one, but sitting in front of my camera and doing a monologue is one thing. But it's not until I grab somebody who I can say, hey, let me do this project. Let me document your life. Let me take photos of you. Let me do something that would help me be outside of my sphere. Not only me, you know, I really my wife, she knows that every project I do, she's the guinea pig, right? But after a while, people are gonna be like, all right, it's a photo of his wife. All right, it's a video of his wife. Right. Who else can I see? Um, that is not within his household. And so it's just like, okay, a film crew. You have to have if you're gonna do a great production, all right, that's not a solo production. You have to have lighting people, you have to have makeup people, you have to have wardrobe, you have to have producers, you have to have a director, you have to have a DP, a cameraman. And so all those different functions work together in tandem to really make something great. And so that's how I look at collaboration. And so alongside that, that's really one of the great things I do, the filmmaking, and showing the world to people who otherwise would not have that outlet.
Mm. I love that series. I love Elevate Black Voices. I got
Thank you.
absolutely very deep into the rabbit hole with those a few days ago, and I love how I love the concept, but they're beautifully made. Um, it feels like vignettes of lives, and you allow the subjects of the videos or of the films to speak on their own. That is, it's fully their voices, and I think that that's a um, I don't know. I really got captivated by that. So I'm really glad you mentioned it, and we'll make sure that
Thank you.
in the show notes people can go find that. I'm wondering about this quotation, Nate. In the past, when I didn't create, you wrote, I felt like I was missing out on something. Now, when I don't create, I feel like the world is missing out on something. That's a shift in your thinking. And I know lots of folks listening have gotten stuck in kind of the either genuine or usually false humility. I'm including myself in this, thinking, well, why would I? Why would I put this out here? Little imposter syndrome, but also, if I don't make this, it's really just me. It's really just me that will know and that would miss out. That's a big shift to think, no, actually the world will. And I think this dovetails a little bit back to what we were talking about at the top about if God is the one who gives ideas and we keep them on our own and don't put the orange cones in, more than just us will be impoverished by that. But how did that shift happen for your thinking? How did you move from thinking this is just mine to the world will miss?
Yeah. It's when I got feedback from sharing what I do.
Okay.
And how it touched so many people, how it blessed many people, how it
Ah,
empowered people. Um, and if it only takes one spark. If I never win an Academy Award, I can be the spark to somebody who will make something that will change the world. I can be that spark to um for the next president of the United States, or one in 30 years. If I never see the fruit of what I've done, it matters. How many people do we study in school that never saw the fruit of their labor? And that's the part that you have to find something inside yourself that says, you know, does this really matter what I'm doing? Does this um if this work goes beyond me and I don't see it, is it still worth doing?
mm-hmm.
And so if you really believe in what you're doing, you believe in the work that you're doing. And that again, why would God bless you with ability? Why would he bless you with ideas? Why would he bless you with platforms and you don't give it your all? And so that's how I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's how I really establish what I'm doing nowadays because all the person needs is a reason. What they need is I talk about it all the time. The power of I think I mentioned it 3 times since we started. The power of exposure, the ability to know that really the capacity to know that something exists, and not only that it can exist, it can exist for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so and one of the passions of my work is to uplift Black people. It is to uplift people who have been marginalized and set aside and held back in certain institutions to say that you matter, that to say that um, life is worth living, to bring people together at the table and to say that you could do this too. The arenas that I've been exposed to, the places, the rooms that I've been in, everyone has not been in those rooms. And so I have to bring my experience. I have to be able to bring all that I am and all that God has deposited into me to the world. And that's how I see it.
I'd like to turn for a moment to the CPAs among us, actually, to return to who you almost thought about being after Calc 1. There are a lot of people who are listening to this who don't necessarily feel like their work in their everyday scratches the itch to create. So, I mean, not to be difficult with CPAs. I'm sure I am married to someone who has a physics major, and I know he gets really,
Wow.
really happy about an organized spreadsheet. Okay. So that, and that's a
Mhm.
gifting that I don't have. If,
Uh-huh.
however, he and I are similar in that if we don't feel like our work is doing enough to help us, again, scratch that itch or kind of feel like we're making something, we're creating something, what do
Uh-huh.
you say to us? What do you say to the folks who don't have artist, filmmaker, photographer, designer, minister in their bio, who are looking to gather creative work into their daily life? What are some practices you can recommend to them?
All right. Sure. I would say, first of all, that any love for any discipline in life comes from the heart of God.
Mm,
All of it, it may not be the things that are counted as spectacular, but all from the zoologist to the marine biologist to the dentist to those are all things that God is passionate about and that He is
mm,
knowledgeable about.
mm.
There's a angel whose job it is to keep count. And so, but for that CPA out there, that's your passion.
Yeah.
Um, know that if God gave it to you, that it's worth having.
Mm,
So there's that. Now, what was the second part of the question?
So if that's beautiful and 100% amen. And thank you for saying that. I'm wondering if that person in their work, maybe they're incredibly fulfilled by their work, but they also feel like there's some part of them
Okay.
that is more creative in a different sphere. But the idea of like going to, the art supply store or starting a novel or picking
Right.
up a ceramics manual or taking a class is just a lot. So are there ways
Mhm.
that you have hung out with people who maybe that's not their knee jerk to know how to get some creative work or making things in their life? They just feel stuck knowing even where to start. Where do these people
Yeah.
start?
Well, the answer to that is you have to start somewhere.
Uh huh.
It's about intention. It's about really defining the space to start in your life. Um, I think it was Just Judy. I heard she
Oh,
talked
Judge
about
Judy.
an artist. Yeah, she
We've
talked
gone
about an
from
artist.
Maya Angelou to Judge Judy. Sages in different ways.
Let me tell you, every pop culture reference is in my purview. So,
That's so awesome.
um, but she mentions and I forget her. I wish I knew her name, but she was an artist that started painting at age 80 and became world renowned for what she did. And so, first of all, it's never too late. Secondly, if you have a inkling, if you have an inclination, if you have this inspiration hits you, start. Define space. If you have space in your home, define a space where you want to start, and more importantly, time.
Hmm.
God said, "Let us make man in our own image and our likeness." Right? He is eternal. God is a spirit. We know that He is eternal, but He defined when our time would begin. He stepped out of eternity, stepped into time, and said, "Okay, let's start." And so, um, it's up to us to define that moment. And you have to choose a point where you say, okay, I know it may not be great in the beginning. I'm going to be a novice in the beginning. I'm going to be on YouTube and in classes in the beginning. I need to learn these things, but I have to start. And if you don't start, it becomes a shoulda, coulda, woulda,
Hmm.
because it's so important to define that starting point and to put legs to it.
Mm,
Because if you don't, it'll be a what if.
right. You talk a little bit in your book about the idea of details and planning, and a little bit about what you're saying here, that you throw a few elbows to find the space in your home or the physical space, but also time, moving things out, right? Allowing for a little bit of margin to engage in the creative work that's on your heart and your brain and your spirit. And I'm wondering if that idea of being detail oriented, there's this moment in your book, I think, where you talk about, oh, it's video games when you were a kid, that everyone else was just ready to play the game, and you would take great care with your avatar, and you had every detail, and that was a part of the fun for you, which I really do love. So I love that idea that even at that age, the attention to detail was a part of making things for you, which is a little CPA-ish, actually. All those details and making things line up okay. So do you come? I'm wondering if that came naturally to you. I mean, clearly in the video game sphere, but is that detail orientation kind of a natural bent for you, or did you have to encourage that the longer you were making art?
Yeah, Kim. Give me 1 second. My leg is all the way asleep.
Oh my gosh. You just felt total pain talking about your video game life.
Oh my goodness.
Are you okay? You can take as much time as you want. You can
Yeah,
take a
no,
drink.
no. It was,
Okay.
I was sitting in the wrong angle,
Wrong
and
spot.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
high chair. It's a little.
Yeah. I'm really glad you didn't pass out. I would not know who to call. So it's good.
All right. I can look back on my life and see. Oh yes, there was a passion. Um, because yeah,
The detail
as you
part,
mentioned, the
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 detail.
detail part.
Okay.
Yeah, as you
Okay.
mentioned, my brothers, my two older brothers, and their one of their best friends, who really was all of our best friends. They would get and I'm the youngest brother, by the way. Just want to mention that.
Okay.
I I once
Is that a
was
little
young.
flex? Like everyone else is old,
Well,
or
not just a flex, but I once was young and now I'm old, and um, I didn't know that video games cost so much because I was a younger brother just gleaming from the other.
yeah, you were grafted
I would
in.
just I just play whenever I wanted to. I didn't have
Totally.
to have a budget for it, and so there's that. But but yeah, so they knew that if we started a new wrestling game, which we all are pro wrestling fans, and yeah, that's a part of our passion too.
That's
But
awesome.
if we start a new wrestling game, that it would take me about 2 hours to create.
Oh
I have to
my
create an
god.
entrance, a move set, an outfit,
Wow.
all those things.
Wow.
To before I started because I wanted to have a creative character,
That's
and and
amazing.
and and so but not only that, I learned in those sequences and in those interfaces, those menus, how to edit
Right.
video because it's the same if you go to Premiere and Adobe nowadays, it's
Amazing.
the same interface
Amazing.
that it was, which was a great um it was really good for for children, us children to be exposed to that at that time. And so whoever did that, kudos to you because you made a whole generation of creative people and
Mm.
functional creative people. And so, but
You
yeah,
know,
so
every
that
mom is
time,
listening and thinking, did he just pitch that I buy video games for my child? You just
if you
absolutely blew their
if
minds. This
if you want your child to succeed in life, let them play
you need
video
to
games
watch
from the age
Judge
of
Judy.
7 to 11.
You go from watch an episode of Judge Judy straight to video game editing. Perfect.
Shameless plug, right? But yeah, so that was that really developed that passion in me, and the detail oriented. I give you another one. My mother was a VHS queen, but we Independence Day, the movie Independence Day.
Oh, sure.
She saw that at the dollar show about 4 or 5 times.
Oh,
That's
wow.
one of her favorite
Loved
movies.
it. Yes.
And so the part when I think it's Bill Paxton does the presidential speech when they're about to have that last attack,
Okay.
that Hail Mary attack on behalf of the world, really, but the U.S. To the aliens. I used to stand and do the speech word for
No,
word
you didn't.
with Bill Paxton. Yes,
No,
I
you did
did.
not.
When the movie came out, I had to be 7 or 6, and so
Oh my gosh.
it's just one of those things, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that show. Hey, oh, okay. And when I look back on that, oh, okay, my public speaking, my preaching,
Mhm.
it's moments
You and
like that.
Bill.
It's like
Hmm.
words really, and and even beyond that. Now we're getting deep now. I'm the youngest, and I have a stutter and a stammer at times. Um, but I've never stuttered or stammered when preaching the word,
That's
and
amazing.
that's a miracle in itself.
That's amazing.
But you fight to be heard.
Mm. As the youngest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but
As
now
a
that I'm heard,
bossy
I'm not
old.
going back. I'm not closing the door now.
That is so awesome. I mean, as a bossy eldest sister, I know you do fight to be heard. And I have 3 kids myself, and I've watched that third one strategically learn how to amplify her voice when it needs to happen, which is almost always because we're so loud at our house. So I hear that. Um, I have a couple of questions for you. One goes into a painful space. You write a little bit about pain and creativity. And I'm wondering just this is a broad question. You can go wherever you want with it. How do pain and creativity interact?
Yeah. Creativity is becomes a healing mechanism, coping mechanism for pain. Um, and even with that, what we just talked about, being the youngest and being 6 years behind the closest one to me, um, you have those moments of being left out, left behind. and their friends are not necessarily always your friends, and just things that you can't necessarily do and that they can. And so movies, um, were a safe haven for me.
Mm.
Not only that, that they took me to another place.
Mm-hmm.
They transported me to California, to France, to um 1952. Like it's another place that's not here.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm not saying, don't address pain, don't address the things that you go through. But when channeled properly, when stewarded properly, your creative space can really be like a journal. It really can be like a safe place that you make the rules. You make the rules. You define uh what it is you want to focus on. And it really is a way to not only get away, but to document what you're going through. And even in a way that's in a societal way. Nina Simone said, "How can I be an artist and not reflect the times?" Right? And so this is a divisive time. This is a painful time. What can we do that would document this in a way that a visual artist could understand, in a way that a writer can understand, in a way that a poet can document it? The pain that we're going through, because we're not the only ones that are going through pain, right? We're not the only ones that feel what we feel. At the time, it may feel like that, but pain, really is. You're passionate about the way that you feel either way, and so if you can use that passion and put it into use the fervor of your passion, and the energy of your passion, and the conviction of your passion to go into your creative ability,
Mm.
that's a powerful tool. That's a
Mm.
powerful thing.
After I finished your book, I opened up an old document that I made last summer and wrote a little bit into it this morning, which hasn't happened for a really long time. I was writing at the very beginning just to kind of, there was such a spillover. I couldn't contain all of the, in a given day, I needed a spot where I could just kind of let things out. And then I felt quite a wilderness of not feeling like I could create. I kind of moved into helping other people create and being a coach alongside and kind of a cheerleader. And I think there's spaces for both of those. But I want to thank you for your book, because it reminded me of the beauty of allowing each season to have its voice, and that it's not pretty, and that it doesn't need to be tidied up. And I read over some older things in that document this morning and thought, I don't remember any of this. Really
Wow.
detailed things that I can't remember. I don't remember those moments at all, because it was such a
Mm.
wash of grief and sudden tragedy that I think your brain goes into we're going to just get through this. So
Right.
I am grateful that in some of those early days, I had the wherewithal just to write a few things, and they're clumsy. I mean, some of the things in those sentences are just like
Ye-
very odd even. And I'm so grateful I have those. And it reminded me that even now, as I'm breathing a little bit more deeply, I can't let, as you said, I can't let the ideas fritter away, not just for me, but for the next person down the path.
Mhm.
For me, there's a balance there of feeling like I can do this just without anybody watching. It's super private and super painful. And later I can decide who gets what. But if I
Right.
decide on the front end and I give the no on the front end, that I wouldn't have some of those snippets that are in my hand from that time. So thank you for saying that.
Absolutely. And even um, Hagar, Hagar,
Mm,
when she, the before that, the Bible mentions God as Elohim. What it says, let us make man. But the first person to mention God in a creative light with a creative name was Hagar.
Mm-hmm.
And she
The God
said,
who
you
sees.
know, you are El Roy, the God who sees,
Mm-hmm.
who sees what? Who sees me?
Mm-hmm.
Sees me in my pain, sees me in my rejection, sees me in um, having this child that I had no power over, Abram being my husband, and now then you bless me with this child, and then we're cast out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a painful thing that the world has not recovered from yet.
Yeah, that's right.
To be quite frank. And so, and I even think of how this book was born. My first book project, um, that I just started on. And actually 12 years ago, last Monday, um, I lost my father.
I'm so sorry.
And so I felt as though I needed to document what he meant to me, to the world. And not only that, couple it with Christian precepts. He didn't go to church every day. He wasn't, but he never stopped my mother from going to church. And that really made us who we were. Having his influence on us and her influence on us really made us the people that we are. And so this book never would have been born if I didn't reach to document what he meant to me through that moment of pain of, me going to work, he dropping my wife off at church, him coming back to plow snow and not making it back home. And so yeah, that is, and I'm just realizing that now that this whole thing of me, the publisher, me and the publisher coming together after my fourth attempt at a book, um, was through a moment of pain.
Mm. Yeah.
And so, it's powerful to act on those moments because
Mm.
you're in a place where you're just you're incapable of not being passionate.
Mm.
Yeah, you're incapable of not being passionate.
I needed to talk with you today. So thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay, one last, a little bit logistical question before the
Mhm.
final. I love in your book the visual art, your visual art that's peppered through the pages. They are stunning pieces. I just have the two-dimensional on a screen, so I can't imagine how they are in real time and real space, but they are gorgeous and lush and arresting. And I would stare for a really long time and then think, I also need to be reading. So then I'd reluctantly go to the next page. And I love that that's a part of this project. I love that your publisher understood that and took the time and the ink to make those beautiful spaces come alive in this book. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for making them. And also thank you for kind of pushing for that, I'm sure, to have that be a part of the manuscript. Which leads me to, where can we buy your art? Do you sell your art? Because I was showing my family, I was like, look at this one and look at this one. And finally I realized, where can, and I hunted around and was not super successful. So tell me where we can buy your art. And I will definitely put the link in the show notes.
Sure.
Do you sell?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
So there's a few different ways. The most ready way, I guess, or the most convenient way, if you want some by tomorrow, would be I sell it to third party retailers. So like
Okay.
Target.com, Amazon,
Okay.
Overstock.com,
Okay. Got it.
things of that nature. And so you have to search for NUMA Art, NUMA Art by
Okay.
Nathan Nicholson,
Okay.
and pieces will come up.
Okay.
So you can find that on my social media. You find links to that on my YouTube as well. But NUMA Art by Nathan Nicholson is what you'll have to find.
Okay.
And you could say Nathan L. Nicholson because there's a Nathan Nicholson who does music who I'm not pretty happy with.
I
But
did find him actually, and I was like, no, this is the wrong one. Well,
but yeah, so and I also I sell direct as well, and
sure.
I'm
Okay.
opening up my commissions to be able to create personal pieces for people as well.
Wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful and stunning. Last question, Nathan L. Nicholson. I always ask my guests a very nerdy question at the end, which is, what is a book? We are book people. I found you through your book. So in addition to your book, what is a book that you have recommended over and over through the years that just has stuck with you?
Yeah, I would say The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Pappison.
Okay.
Teaches you how to really get results and focus in, hone in. I'm a person that is all over the place at times. I think I say in the book that my creativity is like HBCU drum major, high stepping with the harmonica in his mouth and doing twirls. And so it keeps you focused, lets you be able to you know have results from your passion. And
Okay.
so
Great.
there's that. And then I would say, also I would recommend by Carrie Newhoff, Didn't See It Coming.
Okay.
It's just talks about phases of life and things that catch you by surprise and being able
Okay.
to go through life. And, we go through life so many times thinking that the journey is getting to is the
Mm.
destination,
Mm-hmm.
but the journey is the journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to look around and say, okay, you know, the trip is half the pleasure of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What was the name of that one again?
Didn't See It Coming
Didn't
by
see it
Carrie
coming.
Newall.
Okay, great. We will put the links to all of these things in the show notes, as well as how to find you, how to buy things that you have made, how to find Elevate Black Voices. You have a lot of links, Nate. There's going to be a lot of links. And I think just for fun, we'll put in one for Judge Judy. Why not? Nate Nicholson, thank you so much for joining me. This was a total delight. Thank you for your beautiful book, In the Beginning We Create. I think it's going to help a lot of people reframe and even engage in making beautiful things. So thank you so much.